Assalamualaikum and good morning to all. This is DrRosmaini again. I'm now planning to lecture for chapter 3, titling New Service Development. What does it take to design, develop, and implement new service into the industry? Basically, these are the learning objective. I'm supposed to enable you to describe sources of service sector growth. And by the end of this course, you should be able to describe what are the fundamental characteristics of service innovation. What are the things it takes to come up with new service innovation. You should be able to describe what are the managerial issues pertaining to the adoption or introduction of new technology, and you should be able to explain and differentiate the divergence and also the complexity of service process. And the rest of the learning objective includes enable you to prepare a new service blueprint, to develop a new service innovation, and also last but not least, explaining how the intellectual property rights protect a service brand. So let's get it started. Basically, the argument now is for designing new service. So people will ask, what are new service in Malaysia, which is available now? What are the relatively new service available in Malaysia? So I think I consolidate few number of services which is available in Malaysia. I would say recently, about this 1 or 2 years, we have Food Panda, right? And we have also uh, this new digital payment platform, which is namely Boost, or there are some others like Touch and Go e-wallet and so on. Partly due to pandemic COVID-19, so we also have new services available based on your mobile apps, My Sejahtera. Okay, so and some of you might be also purchasing a lot on online platform during this pandemic, which is we are encouraged not to make so much physical movement, buying from Lazada or Shopee. Okay, and we also have latest new service offering in the agricultural sector, because during pandemic, uh, in terms of labor supply is very low. People are limited to do work outside, so agricultural drone as far as spraying pesticide in the paddy field also nowadays, we start implementing drone. So these are basically new services. Okay, for those that are frequently purchasing product from Lazada, okay, do you know which country owns Lazada? And for those of you which that purchase many products through Shopee, do you know which company owns Shopee? Okay, so basically, this company, Food Panda, Lazada, Shopee, is not Malaysian company. Okay, Boost is Malaysian company. Food Panda is based in China, basically Chinese company. Shopee is basically a Singaporean company. And again, Lazada is a Chinese-based company owned by Jack Ma. And those are the services around us, which is recently available, I would say, in the past 1 or 2 years, including this Grab service, which is predominantly available in Malaysia. But perhaps this Grab service could be highly innovated in future. For example, now Grab drivers need to drive their car under the Grab scheme, right? But in future, perhaps due to new service innovation, Grab car will be about autonomous. No driver will drive Grab car. So it is driven through this 5G infrastructure internet, and somewhere it is controlled in the headquarter. Okay, Those are the new services available in Malaysia, in which I would say rather interesting as far as its development and its potential future growth. Okay, that is to set the setting of the discussion for new service development. Okay, in the textbook, it is highlighted on the what are the sources of new service sector growth? What are the potential, I would say, enablers that make the service sector growing? For one source or contributor for the service sector growth, first is it is mostly IT driven. Okay, so I would say service sector, for example, banking. Nowadays, less and less people are doing banking in physically in the bank counter. So most of us prefers to go to bank during the non-working hour, for example, after 5 p.m. Or most of you or some of you might be using online banking like maybank2u.com. So these are the new service sector which is significantly growing, which is very much enabled by the IT infrastructure. Okay, so second source of enabler for service sector growth is it is internet based. I would say internet is a single platform technology that enable many services to be actively growing. Okay, so for example, you take a look on the content industry, like Amazon.com or YouTube. These are all made possible. These are all made achievable due to the platform, which is internet. Okay, so on top of internet, we have now nowadays Internet of Things, which is a system or a network which is working based on sensors, based on fast server, based on wide broadband, and so on. Right. The third source of service sector growth is due to its drive in innovation. Okay, innovation is means that you are coming up with a new service platform based on existing platform, or maybe it is totally new. Okay, in innovation, normally it is related to uh, approach like push theory. For example, if we discuss about innovation, normally management expert will point to this push theory and relate it to a product named post-it note. This is post-it notes. It was developed by 3M, which is the American company. Somehow, this innovation is driven by push theory because it is invented accidentally, right? In those days, in 1970s, 3M is a big American company. They want to develop glue. Of course, the basic requirement for glue, for example, like for paper or for any material, it must stick. What kind of glue that doesn't stick? So the scientists at a chemical lab at 3M somehow invented a glue that, perhaps due to accidental nature of the invention, the glue somehow doesn't stick. So it pushes for a new solution or a new product that may need this unstickable glue, and they call it they push the glue for post-it note application, in which you can take this post-it note sticker or post-it note paper and write the notes there, perhaps to remind you certain things to do tomorrow, and put it at your computer desktop, or put it at your working table, so it reminds you for doing the things tomorrow. So the unsticking glue ultimately become a good success product, best-selling product for 3M. And until now, there are many other derivatives or many other type of product based on the model of post-it note, which is based on push theory. Okay, well, innovation is related to also pull theory. For example, for cash management, so pull theory is very much related. You produce the product already, and then you pull a customer to buy for it. And there are other types of innovation based on services. For example, nowadays, Netflix is the major movies distributor in the world. So it is a new business model based on this concept of innovation, in which nowadays people are watching movies from streaming instead of buying the movie physically through CDs or through videotapes in the olden days. So as such, we could also exploit information for auto part sales, for example, in supply chain management system. So we use information to order spare parts for car and plan for their shipment, and also plan for their repairing. Okay. So innovation based on service is actually quite tricky and difficult, because if we develop a prototype for a new service, basically we cannot patent it, because it is rather this business process in service, normally it is intangible. So it is not like developing a physical product, in which it is easy for you to claim for patent because it is tangible. You can come up with the physical design, you can come up with the application, you can come up with the marketing strategy. So as such, it is easily to be patented. So for service innovation, normally it is difficult or almost cannot be patented. Okay. Well, service sector growth is also influenced by changing demographics, right? In olden days, we could say that everybody can fly. So if you want to fly from Johor to Kelantan, if you want to fly from Johor to Kuching, it's very easy. You can take a flight and fly. But nowadays, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, I would say no flight available nowadays. So very limited. So changing demographic also influencing the service in airlines, right? So changing demographic also influencing many approaches for people and customer in doing their daily work. Let's take a look on this four quadrant of distribution of gross domestic product in the US economy, as it is being written in the textbook. We have four quadrant here: quadrant A, quadrant B, quadrant C, and quadrant D. For service economy, for example, the USA or America, distribution of GDP, if we take a look on these two lines, okay, distribution of GDP is very much nowadays based on information, because this line is going up, right? From perhaps 40 or 60 years ago, this line is quite small, but now this line is moving up, in which more and more gross domestic product or products being produced based on information. And also more products, or more, I would say, output by the American people or by the US economy is very much service driven. So it is nowadays, this line is moving to the left, in which services are taking a much more outcome of work, which is based on services in comparison to the product. So at last, we could say that this A quadrant physically becomes smaller, and those outcome or output of work activity based on product also becoming smaller and smaller. So they are becoming as much as small as much 6%, whereas services are growing to at the bigger stake at 31%. On the information, so it is growing much bigger. So it is growing as big as 53%. Those work resulting that contribute to GDP nowadays, 53% based on information. For example, like work out of software, work which is delivered by Netflix, work which is delivered by, say, YouTube, based on YouTube, I would say. Okay, so this quadrant is become bigger and bigger, moving upward, and this one moving to the left. So that means that GDP in America is basically driven by services and based on information. So physical product like this sector A, for example, like car. So American are producing lesser and lesser cars nowadays. So cars are basically manufacturing being outsourced to like China or to India or to Indonesia, for example. So for this sector B on the physical services, which is normally related to like logistic and transportation. So this segment is basically increasing because it is service based. And C quadrant, like for digital product, which is based on information, for example, like Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, Insta, those are also increasing significantly. And this quadrant on D, which is information service, for example, financial services, banking, telecommunication service provider. So this segment is also greatly increasing upward and also increasing toward the left. So these are the summary of quadrant on distribution of American economy based on physical product, physical service, digital product, and information services. Okay, let's take a look on what types of services available as far as innovation is concerned. So what are those services that is being innovated? So innovation is in service basically related to first, this basic research. Second, that is category under applied research innovation. Or the third is a category of development innovation. Okay, let's discuss on the first type of innovation in service, in basic research. Okay, so basic research implies to pursue a planned search for new knowledge regardless of possible application. So this is basically very much more scientific research, which is inventing or innovating a new material or new type of services. For example, basic research are related to chemical and also scientific new material, for example. Okay, so nowadays we our battery, for example, like our mobile phone, are mostly using lithium ion type of scientific material. However, in future, we need to have a more or better or longer services. So nowadays, electric car are considering using graphene material in order to provide better services for electric car, for example. Okay, secondly, on applied research normally relates to applying the existing technology to problems in order to create new service. Okay, let's take a look on this example of applied research. Okay, for example, the autonomous car. Okay, autonomous driven car. Do you know what is autonomous driven car? Basically, car with a driver. Okay, well, this application has been applied in many other services. For example, MRT Mass Rapid Transit in Kuala Lumpur, MRT 1, and now they are producing MRT 2, okay, and ultimately MRT 3. So MRT is basically autonomous. MRT train in Klang Valley basically without driver. However, commuter, KTMB train, those are with drivers. So now you have a train, but now the new creation of new service nowadays is train without driver or taxi without driver. Okay. The third innovation in service basically related to development, in which it applies knowledge to existing problem to improve current service. Okay, I have talked about this electric car. But how about one day in the next 5 or 10 years, our airplane or our flight will be electric plane, for example. Okay, and nowadays it has been designed and implemented successfully for electric plane, mostly in the form of a small plane. So based on 100% electric. So those are basically new development as far as a new innovation in service is concerned, which is in the airline industry. But it could be possible that a larger size of aeroplane in future will be driven solely by electric power. Okay, so what are the level of service innovation? So what kind of layer or levels which is available for service innovation? Okay, there are two types or two levels of service innovation. First, they call it a radical service innovation. Secondly, they categorize under incremental innovation, okay, or incremental level of service innovation. Okay, let's take a look on these two. For radical innovation, in the service perspective, it is considered major innovation if the new service that customers did not know they needed. So previously, they do not know whether they need that kind of service. Okay, for example, who knows that online banking in just a matter of 10 years, it will become needed in future. In the olden days, if you need to do banking, traditionally we need to drive to the bank, find the parking, and then always need to suit the time in which normally banks open at 9 and close at 5 or 4 o'clock. So those are the olden days, and people cannot imagine that after 5 you can still do banking nowadays. Or even in the olden days, customer didn't know that they can do banking before 9 a.m., for example. I think you're quite familiar with going to banks. If it is before 9 o'clock, they won't open the door or the counter for you. So nowadays, it is become basically standard that you can do banking 24 hours, 7 days a week, right? So perhaps this 10 or 15 years ago, people did not expect that they can do banking in such a all around the clock time. Okay, radical innovation also relates to startup business, a new service for underserved market, in which potential new service can be provided for market which is not yet tapped. Okay, for example, agricultural drone. So who could imagine that 10 years ago that you still can do seeding in the paddy farm, or you can still spray pesticide other than using workers or other than using human labor. But nowadays you can do that kind of a service by using automation or robotics of some sort of equipment, nowadays called drone. New services for the market presently served implies to new service to customers and organization which is existing available. Okay, so those are criteria that relates to radical innovation. So basically, totally new, unexpected new service, underserved market, and nowadays it is become prevalent. Second level of service innovation, we call it incremental level of service innovation, in which it implies that the service is currently existing, and the new approach is that they are empowering or they are enabling the existing service to become better or to become faster or become cheaper or become higher quality. So that is service line extension. For example, in the airline industry, in the olden days, you can only check in through the counter of the airline or at the airport, right? But incremental innovation means that you could now, on top of checking at the counter, you still can check in via your mobile phone, or you can still check in via the airline kiosk, so that to confirm or to affirm that you are taking the upcoming flight. Okay, service improvement also relate to changes in service delivery process, right? For example, just now I have highlighted you on the airline check-in. Incremental innovation also influence style change, modest visible changes, appearance. For example, in the industry of fashion, so you will see some of the visible addition of a new, for example, apparel, new attires that is being promoted from time to time. So those are considered incremental innovation. Okay, so here are a few, I would say, source of technology which is driving service innovation. So the source of technology normally related to first, power or energy. Second source of technology based on service innovation normally related to its facility design. The third source of technology normally related to material, chemical, or those related to the basic raw material of the end product. The fourth source of technology that is feeding service innovation related to methods. Methods means that it implies process of doing work. And the fifth source of technology, which is driving service innovation, normally related to information. Okay, let's take a look at the first one. For example, power and energy. Okay, nowadays it is almost standard that most aeroplane is being flown by jet aircraft. Okay, by having this jet aircraft, service innovation can be achieved, in which by jet aircraft you can have a farther or longer flight time. For example, it's possible nowadays to fly from Kuala Lumpur to London without any transit. Okay, so facility design, for example, in hotel, in modern hotel nowadays, they have a very big atrium. So big atrium means that if you check in at the counter, you can see a big lobby from the lobby perspective, either on the ground floor and even up to the top view. So normally it is far-reaching to the top. So this is to give the feeling is that the hotel is very spacious, big, and also open until the top to have the feeling of being spacious. Okay, for material, service innovation also being influenced by having a new type of raw material. For example, synthetic engine oil. Nowadays, it's become much more common, right? People use synthetic engine for their car so that they can drive for as far as 10,000 kilometer before they need the next service. So in the methods, we have many new methods in particularly related to service. For example, JIT, which is just in time. This is basically for better supply chain services as far as logistics is concerned. Six Sigma is related to quality management approach. And last but not least, the fifth source of technology is information-based, in which nowadays e-commerce, e-platform, as far as buying and selling just through online. You don't have to set up a physical shop, or you don't have to go to physical shop or actual supermarket to buy your product. So, and if it is e-commerce based, then your market is basically to the whole world. Okay, what are the challenges that is influencing service innovation? Okay, there are four challenges that is influencing service innovation. Okay, how come service innovation is so challenging, or is quite difficult, or is very tough business operation? Because in service innovation, basically business owner cannot protect their intellectual or property technology. For example, if you develop a new approach in providing service, basically you cannot patent it, right? Because in service innovation, basically the customer itself must get involved so that the end product can be delivered. For example, like the hospitality industry, like hotel. So the customer must be present at the hotel, taking up the booking and then stay at the room overnight. And by itself, the product is basically the service itself. So as such, it is very difficult to have ownership or to have intellectual right for such service or such service. Okay. So subsequently, the incremental nature of innovation in service is very much incremental in nature, right? So, for example, we have had ATM services in since 1970s by Citibank, the American bank, and nowadays on top of ATM, the banks nowadays offer for example, CDM machine, cash deposit machine, also checking receiving machine. Okay, uh, those are incremental, in which from ATM towards CDM and so on. Okay, on top of incremental nature of innovation, the challenges for service innovation also attributed to from a degree of integration required. So service innovation is very much influenced, or I would say based on IT system, right? So most service nowadays are very much based on computer, network, router, internet, broadband service provider, and so on. So as such, it requires a lot of integration from legacy IT system or older IT system into a newer network-based system with a central database and with a cloud computing platform. Okay. As such, it is more challenging in service innovation to build a prototype or to conduct tests in the controlled environment, because services is basically involving customer in order to make it to be delivered to customer. So the customer must present. So this contribute challenges for service to innovate. Okay, in order to adopt new technology for services, the challenges are also related to the newly introduced technology, because this new technology is basically needing customer to be involved in the process so that it is a complete product service. Okay, and it involves also the front office, in which the frontline employees that is dealing with customer, and also this is also influencing the back office or those people in the like administration or human resource department to deal with the front office as far as changes is concerned. So as such, to adopt new technology, so the service need new standardization. Okay, so there are eight type of, I would say, dilemma or paradox in readiness to embrace new technology. So the technology paradox are, first, either the new technology will give you control, or the new technology will create chaos because it is not working based on what you wanted it for. The second paradox is either technology will make you more free, so that you can do some other work on top of just being bounded by the single work that have been doing every day. So the third paradox is new technology will make new type of service possible, and the older technology become obsolete. Okay. New technology also contribute to your work to be more competent in comparison to your slow manual-based work, right? And new technology also contribute to higher efficiency in comparison to slow business process if you are doing it manually, accessing your file manually, and so on. So these are the tendency for that influence adoption of new service technology. Okay, the new service cycle basically related to this loop, which is starting from the design of new service and then launching the new service, to develop further on its this existing service, and later analyzing it, adjusting it, and then redesigning and this loop is basically moving from this stage to the next until as long as the business operates. Okay. Let's take a look for the new service development based on e-commerce platform like Amazon or Shopee. Okay, Amazon was created by Jeff Bezos in the 80s, right? After he resigned working as a vice president in a financial company. So in those early days, Jeff Bezos using Amazon.com basically to sell books. In 1980s, Amazon just sells book. So Jeff Bezos need to test the service, design the service, basically in those olden days to handle single category product, namely physical books. But when you launch it, right? So the system become better, the acceptance from customer become wider. So Amazon began to introduce some other product line. For example, music, for example, electronic appliances, and Amazon developed further to provide some other services. For example, they developed the delivery system on top of sending the product from Amazon by trucks. But nowadays, Amazon have also started to deliver their customer product by using drones. Okay, so the service is being developed. Later, the performance of the business being analyzed, and later improve it, redesign the business process, and also the business become bigger and bigger. These are all made possible because Amazon got many enablers. For example, competent people, high technology driven, and it is a computer system based, right? So all these are enabling Amazon to have a good new service cycle development from merely selling books, but nowadays it sells, I would say, almost any product in the world. Okay, I think this is taking about 35 minutes, so let's take a break for a while before later I continue with part two. Okay, let's take a short break. Thank you for your attention and see you soon.